This portion of Lee Pitts Live is brought to you by Hodges University, educating the leaders of our community for over 20 years.
Welcome back, Southwest Florida. We continue to press ahead here. And I'm so glad to get him in here. He's wearing too much alpha stuff for me with the black and gold. But Earl Sparrow is a pillar in the community. We see him out hepping. He's a musical great. And he's also doing a fabulous job in the insurance business. So we're so delighted to have Earl Sparrow in the studio. Earl, let's bump, man. Boom. Earl, tell us about your music background. Everybody out there, Mr. Earl from music. Tell us a little bit.
Well, I first started playing the piano when I was 4. I'll be 39 in November. So I've been playing, reading music, and went to Florida A&M University, got my bachelor's in music education, graduated from there in 2002. Came down here to Fort Myers and taught for a few years. Started teaching at Dunbar High School. Carl Burnside actually recruited me to come down here. Then while I was teaching, I went and got my master's in music education from the University of Florida.
Wow.
Got that in 2010.
So you didn't just, you formally trained.
Formally trained. I actually started playing for my church when I was 12. So I've been playing for churches for 27 years.
Okay, let's go to insurance. How did you first get into the insurance business?
Well, once I got married and had my first child and bought my first house, I had to kind of grow up and not have what my mom had on me, those funeral burial arrangements. So I ended up sitting down with a young man. He said, you know what, I think you can do this. I said, nah. I kept teaching. And about 3 years later, I gave it a try. The timing was right, and I made a move.
Been real successful for you.
Been very successful.
Why should people have life insurance?
People should have life insurance because what happens when people don't, you plan for it, and I tell people you don't know when you're going to go, but you can be responsible for what you leave behind.
So I bet you were listening intently to what Samara Beckwith was talking about.
A lot of the things that she was talking about was key about planning. If you don't plan, then people have to make plans for you.
What are some various forms of life insurance that people may not be aware of? They just think life insurance.
Well, there's only 2 main types of life insurance. One is permanent life insurance or cash value life insurance. The other is term. There are some people that think term is all you need. Some people think whole life is all you need. Most of my clients have a mixture of both because they serve 2 different purposes.
So when people call you or go to that number on the screen, you Sesame Street this for them, break it down in a way that they can understand. Right.
Yeah, we basically sit down and we'll talk about what you have in place, how you got to the point where I can provide my services. We'll talk about what is needed if something happened to you today. Would your family's quality of life suffer? Where would the second amount of income come from? Most of the times we have a breadwinner that makes the majority of the income for the family. And we have, whether it's a husband or a wife.
Do you find that some people get it mixed up? They have medical insurance, but they don't have life insurance, but they think they have life insurance, but they just have medical insurance? They get it mixed up. I actually got it mixed up one time.
What happens is 2 kinds of life insurance. Oh, I have my job insurance. I have insurance at my job.
Right.
And then I have some other people that I sit down with, and they have, oh, my mama has something. My grandma has some life insurance on me, so I'm fine. And most of the time I share with them that their job insurance belongs to that job. They can't take it with them. If they do, they have to pay full price for COBRA, and that's not something that somebody unemployed would like to do. But then we also talk about how parents get burial coverage, but they don't get life insurance to pay for the house. They don't get life insurance to put those kids in college. They don't get life insurance to pay for debt and things of those nature. They have just enough to cover the funeral arrangements.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned cover. How, just as best as you can, how much insurance that varies how much insurance a person needs? How do you go about calculating that, or what have we?
There's no real silver bullet for that. What I would tell people is there are a few things you need to take care of. You need to take care of your debt. You need to take care of your funeral arrangements. You need to take care of your house. make sure the mortgage is taken care of. You need to take care of college, and you need to replace your income
Okay.
for a few years, at least till your kids are out of college. So those are things that, depending on where you are, depending on how young your kids are, there are different levels for different people.
What is the difference between term and whole life insurance?
Term is renting life insurance. So say you're leasing a BMW,
Okay.
3-year lease.
Okay.
At the end of 3 years, you're going to have to give that back or pay for it. With term, at the end of those 3 years, you'll have some options to convert some of that over to whole life and keep that. Term rarely buries people.
So
It's a 97% chance that you're going to outlive a term.
okay, so essentially you're saying whole life is best?
No, I wouldn't say whole life is best. I say whole life has a total different function. Whole life, and I've seen people that have a whole life policy for $25,000, but that's not even how much they make. But they have young children. So to give them the coverage they need to have some term policies that will replace their income and take care of those other things that we talked about. And it's very expensive to do that solely in whole life.
Now, how does disability income protection fit into the picture?
Say you're making $50,000 a year. You work for 20 years, that's $1.5 million. If you become disabled that second year, where's that income going to come from? So it's using your money smart to protect and make sure income is coming in.
Okay. Well, I tell you, man, that's been some interesting information, and we're looking forward to getting you back here in the studio again to kind of keep people on tap on that. Keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, as the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Earl Sparrow who are doing it.